Yesterday through overnight to this morning, and you juxtapose it with Polokwane 5 years ago. What do you see? What do you think? How do you feel?
Well, it was a bit bumpy. It was a bumpy road yesterday. There were issues around credentials, and then the two provinces, which they had to make a plan for them. The mood was very militant outside. The singing. There are similarities with Polokwane, but there's a slight edge in terms of the heightened emotions here, I think.
Has it been properly managed, this conference?
I think so. I think given the challenges that, the party was facing coming here, and the court challenges, the disagreements in the provinces, I think they've done well. They've found a way to move ahead and to get the things that must be done.
Is the integrity, image, respectability of the ANC restored by this?
No, not yet. I think we must wait to see what happens. This has been a very vulnerable conference. It is still vulnerable in that it is open to challenge, perhaps legal challenge afterwards. So we can't talk about restoration. But I think what the ANC has managed to do, which it always seems able to do, is to navigate and negotiate through crisis. And this has been done up to so far, has been done well.
Now, looking at the nominations process yesterday, perhaps start at the very end. So Thandi Modise goes up and says she's withdrawing her candidature. Jessie Duarte becomes the only candidate for the position of Deputy Secretary General. What was your reaction to that?
Well, I suppose that position is not a high-stakes position, the Deputy Secretary. It's one that you can let go. And I think that was what we were seeing happening there. Although you also ask questions about the solidity of the other slate in which Thandi Modise is supposed to be on, how solid that slate is, if it lets go any position uncontested.
The others were fairly predictable. The incumbent Secretary General, Fikile Mbalula, and then the Treasurer General's position, Zweli Mkhize and Paul Mashatile.
I think fairly predictable. What is a bit puzzling is, of course, the deputy presidency, where you have both Sekhuale and Posa contesting. That again raises questions about the solidity of this slate. So, for the rest, I think it's what we expected.
One of the things that seems quite clear about that particular slate was that nobody was in charge. There were too many leaders.
Yeah, I think they probably took this stance against slates too far. Perhaps they wanted to look like they don't have a slate, which is why they went on like that. But it can be very costly. We must wait for the results, but it could be very costly. Unless, of course, between the two who are contesting against each other, one of them is a spoiler. You can never know what is going on there.
So, without writing off the incumbent deputy president, it does look like a lot of questions are now being asked about what now if he loses? What prospects for him? Is this the end of the road? What would you say? How does it look right now?
Yeah, I don't like the expression end of the road. It can't be end of the road for someone like Kgalema, someone with such who is so rooted in the history of the ANC, who has been there, done it all, who has been our president for 8 months. It can't be end of the road. But I suppose in a limited sense, in the sense that when there is a change of this nature, often the people who come in take it as a signal from the voters that they too should change the team. And in that sense, he might fall out. I think he probably will be a member of the NEC if he loses. But we mustn't talk as if we know that he will lose. We don't know, you and I, definitely.
So what does it look like to you now? I mean, I see one of the newspapers in the country says now top 6 by acclamation. They seem to have found some kind of way to declare victory. What do you make of that?
Look, I mean, if you go by the songs and by the noise and by the indications, by the placards people are holding, then you would say, yes, it's a Zuma victory all the way, and that slate is going to win. But, you know, the question then becomes, what next? What next? What about all the challenges that this organization is facing? What about all the challenges that this country is facing? What is the plan? You know, those things remain to be addressed.
So what do you make of it now? As things stand, acclamation, the noise that has been there and so on, what is your expectation?
You're putting me on the spot, Vuyo. I expect that, you know, perhaps the noises we are hearing indicate that there will be a Zuma victory. But I think the real victor, in my opinion, if indeed the Zuma slate wins, the real victor will be Cyril Ramaphosa. In my view, because this is the man for whom the position of deputy president can't offer much. So clearly he's eyeing the presidency. And that's why I suppose he has accepted. So at the end of it all, this is the man who is inheriting the promises and the problems in the movement. He's inheriting them, and he's the man who will take them further. And so if you want to look to a person for whom this victory is real, without many, if it becomes a victory, without many challenges, without many negatives, it will be him. But of course, 5 years is a long time. A lot can happen in 5 years. It could be that 5 years later, what has happened to Kgalema could happen to him.
That Tinyiko Maluleka is a political analyst. He's with the University of South Africa talking to us about what is happening here in Mangaung. What are your thoughts?